Hello YouTube, Velvet Blue Productions here, and if you like what you're seeing, make sure to give my channel a subscribe. Anyway, this game was considered ambitious by my teachers. After all, most people when they decide to do a game project, they would probably use like 2 to 3 levels. I just decided to make a game, at least for this game. I decided to have 2 stages, with each stage having 4 levels. Plus, I intended for a cutscene to be somewhere. More on that later on. It was made with the Construct 2 engine. This engine is much harder to work with than Game Maker, but it isn't exactly as difficult to work with as Unity, like our last one. This is the 3rd project that I've made, and the 3rd game that we're gonna look in Game Insights. So, level 1. This is our tutorial stage. You can work on your jumps, and possibly even double jumps in this level. There are no time constraints, no deductions, or any sort of problems whatsoever, and you can easily clear this level by flipping gravity. Speaking of flipping gravity, we're going into the character mechanics. We're not going to talk about programming because I didn't actually use any programming. Unlike the last time, where we actually used C#. This is actually using a bunch of controls that we have. If you're wondering, this sounds very similar to Game Maker. It's kind of, maybe. There isn't a sort of direct object and sprite. For this one, the object is the sprite. And the mechanics of moving around, I decided to map left and right for movement, the up button for jump, and the down button to flip gravity. Anyways, on to level 2. Level 2, I had a bit of a bug. The walls and the ceiling, I don't know why, the ceiling and floor just decided to run on their own while I don't know what's up with the walls. All I know is that I managed to find a quick way to actually end this level quickly. Redundant much? Yes. But this was actually a shortcut that I didn't know before. Back when I was usually playtesting it, I usually looped around the actual one, following the main path of the level. Well, as we can see, there's one enemy bot. That one we actually used a concept quite similar to what we actually used in our Shock Spark in Diamond Dungeon. Except in Construct 2, instead of just using the collide with object, which we actually did, we also add a sort of player control that's not actually controlled by the player. Instead, we actually put some programming into it that allowed it to free roam on its own. And the cutscene. To be honest, it's just add some text, move some actors here and there with a click of the button, and you should be done. Now, level 3. Oh, level 3 indeed. Here is where the difficulty comes slightly creeping in. After all, there is the Cannon of Evil. Plus, there are actually rows of enemies that we have to deal with. Usually I like to deal with them early, which is why the giant and loops up and down are actually there for. So I can deal with the enemies while also moving. Though shooting sort of pushes you back. Now, the Cannon of Evil. This was sort of based on a game that I'm not willing to release because it was essentially done by everyone of my mates that I was actually working with. This was a solo sort of project where we're supposed to shoot balls, meatballs to be precise, out of a cannon. I decided to put this on auto loop and decide that the shurikens just shoot wherever within the level, essentially making it difficult to predict, and sometimes you could even die within this level. Alright, level 4. Oh, level 4. Woo! Not an enemy in sight, and suddenly we have a difficulty spike. Honestly, this one is surprisingly difficult. Especially seeing how the platforms are just out of reach, that you have to use your bullets, or your bark in this case, to actually platform. Also, in this level, you don't get the gravity flip. It's just not an option. Level 5. And we take to the skies on a golden cloud. If anyone asks, this was sort of inspired by Goku in a way. To be honest, you don't actually... I actually tried initially to kill off all the enemies, but there's a very easy strategy that you could use. Shoot the top enemies and just go through there. Yeah. Technically, this is actually surprisingly easy. During my playtesting, I was probably going the hard way. The potato pixies. The things you're shooting at, and they're also shooting at you. I decided to mix the two concepts of the machine enemy and the cannon. And later on, you'll... This can just be... It's gonna be very difficult when we reach level 7. Level 6. Nearly forgotten about this one. This one's also difficult. They're not moving, but they're lined up in a line. And it essentially leaves you shot down, dead on the floor, and essentially having to restart. No questions asked. This may be a very easy level to program, but when you're actually playing it, it's very, very difficult. Level 7. Level 7 is essentially if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Unfortunately, this, I don't know why, but Potato Cupid decided to throw 6 giant wrenches at you, and several tiny creatures that can also throw wrenches at you, while also being wrenches. Sweet Jesus, it's on that much amount of steroids, and it's much worse with the tunnel vision that you're given. The boss mechanics is essentially, we have an area, we spawn a lot of the potato pixies, which are already quite difficult in and of itself, but we have them go in random directions, just randomly sprout them everywhere. Not to mention, we also have 6 giant balls coming from essentially the eye of the potato. This is just an evil, evil, evil thing. So, that was quite a big one. I'd like to thank you for your time, and thanks for checking in.